Page speed and hosting. In this section, we're going to look at the correlation between page speed and rankings. So as you probably guessed it, the faster it takes for your page to load in Google, the more likely it is to appear higher up in the Google ranking. So I'm going to go through some data and just give you some examples of why your page needs to load super fast. Google actually released some information on this in 2010, so we'll go through all that information with you in just a sec. We're going to look at how you can test your website's page speed. So we all know that having a fast website is super important. However, how do you test the page speed of your website? So I'll show you exactly how you do that and my favorite tool to do so. We're also going to look at website hosting and servers. So probably two of the most important elements when it comes to getting your site to load fast. For example, if you have a bad host or a really slow server in the backend powering your website, no matter what you do on your website to try and counteract that, it's still going to be a little bit slow and buggy. So I'm going to show you a solution I recommend. One of them is actually made by an SEO himself, which is quite reassuring. And because the guy is an SEO, he's obviously going to think about page speed and stuff like that. So yeah, let's dive into this section now. The correlation between page speed and rankings. How many times have you searched for something on Google, clicked a result, and then had to wait ages for the page to load? I'm pretty sure you just raised your hand. Waiting ages for a page to load isn't fun at all. 9 times out of 10, we all end up getting really bored and going back to the search results to find another website. Google's view on page speed is exactly the same. Google doesn't want slow loading websites on page 1 as it results in a poor user experience, which if you think about it, makes complete sense. If everyone using Google has to constantly wait ages to get information, then eventually people end up going elsewhere and using another search engine, such as Bing, for example. If everyone did that, then less people would spend money on running Google ads, as why bother when the majority of people are using another search engine? Google needs to ensure everyone has a great user experience when using their platform, as it's in their best interest. One of the things that can cause a bad user experience is slow websites. As a result, Google has been tackling this for a while now. Site speed has been a direct ranking factor since 2010. Google has also confirmed this in the Webmaster's Central blog. The general rule of thumb is that websites should load within 3 seconds. If your site takes longer to load than 3 seconds, then it can have a negative impact on your rankings. This is why it's super important to ensure you have a fast loading website. In the next video, I'll show you how you can test your website speed to figure out if you are above or below that 3-second figure. So now you understand the importance of page speed and that the magic number is 3 seconds, it's time to figure out how long it takes your website to load. So we can do this very easily using a free online tool called GTmetrix. So simply head over to gtmetric.com and you'll land on a page that looks similar to this. Once you're on this page, you want to simply enter your website into this box at the top and then click Analyze. However, before you do that, I just want to share with you a pro tip. If you actually sign up and create a free account, you can actually change your browser location. So your browser location is basically the location this tool is going to test your site speed from. So Level Finish is obviously targeting the US, and currently the browser location is set to Vancouver in Canada. So this won't be a true reflection of how long my site takes to load. So what I want to do is change that to the right location. So like I said, if you create an account, you can actually change this location. So I'm going to find one in the US, which I've just got Dallas right here. I'm just going to check if there's any more. Okay, I've got China, UK, India, Australia, Brazil. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm going to go with Dallas, as that is the only one based in the US. So once I've done that, I'm not going to worry about the rest. I'm simply going to click Analyze. So what GTmetrix is going to do now is going to go out and pretend the browser is actually going to be in Dallas in the US, and it's going to visit my site and see how long it takes to load. So let's wait for the information to come through now. So as you can see, the information is now populated and it took my site 1.4 seconds to load. So that is really good, as that is below 3 seconds. So we have nothing to worry about. This tool is actually really good as well, as it tells you what you're doing really well and what you can work on. So essentially, when you see A, it means I hit 100%. So for example, enable compression. You scored 100% on this recommendation, nothing to do here. So all my files are compressed, which is really good. They have given me 100% for that. However, if you scroll to the top, you can see I've got an F grade, I've got a B and a B. So I wouldn't really worry about these because I'm well within 3 seconds. However, if your site time is maybe 8 or 9 seconds, I would definitely look at the things you can do to improve. However, like I said, for me, it's not really an issue as my site does load fast. And another pro tip as well is you want to retest this, I would say another 2 times. So try and get 3 figures for your website, as sometimes the information can be a little bit inaccurate. If you test it 3 times and then take the average, that will give you a true reflection of how long it takes for your site to load. So I'm going to retest this now and just make sure I'm still around about the 1.4 seconds. Now I might go up to 1.8, I might drop, it doesn't really matter. As long as I don't see like 9 seconds here, for example, in the second test, then I have nothing to worry about. So again, I've got 2.3 seconds. That is still well under 3 seconds. I'm going to do one more retest just to make sure the last number is still going to be under 3 seconds. Again, the more times you test it, the more reliable your information is going to be. So I do recommend you test it at least 3 times when it comes to plugging your website in. So as you can see, the third result has just come in now and it's 2.2 seconds. So again, that is well under 3 seconds, so nothing to worry about at all, guys. Okay, let's dive into the next section of website hosting and servers. Web hosting and servers. When it comes to site speed, your web host and server location are super important. We worked with a client a couple of years ago who was using a poor hosting company, and on average, their site was taking 12 seconds to load, which is insane. No one wants to wait 12 seconds for a site to load. We carried out a comprehensive SEO campaign and managed to get the site on page 1 within 12 months. However, as soon as they got there and they started to generate some clicks to the site, within a couple of weeks' time, Google pushed them back down to page 7. The reason why is because the bounce rate was through the roof. Bounce rate meaning the amount of people who click the site and then hit the back button on the browser to go back to the search results. Google must have thought the site was poor, as people always ended up going back to the search results to find another website. When in reality, users never even saw the website. They all just got too impatient to wait for the site to load, and as a result went back to Google to find another website. This is why it's super important to make sure you're using the right hosting solution. Otherwise, all that hard work you've put in to get to page 1 will go to waste as soon as you get there. You'll be pleased to know we've relayed this information back to the client. They changed the host and the load time went down to 1.9 seconds, and even to this date, they still remain on page 1. When it comes to picking a hosting solution for your website, I'm going to show you the 3 companies that I recommend. The first company is called Cloudways, and this is actually the company we use to host our agency site, ClickSlice. And as you can see from our website, it is super fast. I click blog, the blog loads straight away. I click an article, it loads straight away. Again, super fast. If you do want to see how fast our site is, just go over to Google, search for ClickSlice, and then play around on our site. That will give you a good feeling just to show you how fast our website actually is. So Cloudways, they give you a free SSL certificate as well, which is really good. They also give you a free migration. So if you're currently using a different hosting solution, Cloudways will actually move your site over to Cloudways for you for free, and you don't have to do anything. So it's a really good option, as it makes the whole process for you a little bit easier. So the prices start from $10 per month, and that would be the most basic server. To be fair, this is more than enough. This is actually the package we have for ClickSlice, and like I said, you can see how fast our site is. Everything loads super fast. So, and for us, that is more than fine. You can obviously upgrade and go for like an Amazon server or a Google Cloud server, for example, but they are a little bit more expensive. So it all comes down to your budget. The second hosting company I recommend is one called Siteground. You might have seen them before. They actually have a solution just for WordPress websites. They do have 3 options in total: the Startup, the Grow Big, and the Go Geek. I actually recommend you go for the middle one, which is actually the best seller. The reason why I recommend you go for the Grow Big and not the Startup is because it has what we call dynamic caching. So caching is super important, and I'm actually going to go through that in a bit more depth in the next video. But essentially, when you have caching on your website, it allows your website to load even faster. So if you go for Siteground, this is what I recommend, this package right here under the WordPress hosting URL. So it's a little bit cheaper than Cloudways. And lastly, the third company I recommend is a company called Seeker Host. The main reason I recommend this website is because, one, it's super cheap. It starts from $2.50 per month, so less than $3, and you also get the SSL certificate as well. And on top of that, the person who actually owns this hosting company is actually a former SEO himself, so which means he already understands the importance of site speed and things like that, which in theory means he should have a good understanding of things like site speed and stuff like that, which should make our process a little bit easier. So these are the 3 companies I recommend: Seeker Host, Siteground, and Cloudways.